Hello and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I'm Ayodele Ozubakum. Today on the program, President Buhari visits Taraba State, direct security agencies to arrest criminal Fulani as stakeholders challenge him to apply federal character to security appointments. And later on the program, Fashola says 90 million Nigerians lack electricity. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Martins Oloja, and Tunde Abaton. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Glad to have you back. Months after the complaint of slowed response of Mr. President, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, to herders and farmer clashes in some states, we are finally seeing some action. Since January the 1st, when herdsmen killed 73 people in Benue State, as well as in Taraba and Zamfara states, the clashes have continued to generate headlines and debates. The president's failure to visit victims of those clashes has, remained the fodder of criticism. On Monday, Buhari visited Taraba State, where he talked tough. He gave marching orders to security men to arrest and prosecute anyone caught possessing weapons illegally. But Taraba indigents were unsatisfied. They challenged Buhari to apply federal character to security appointments. Let's watch this.
Pass my condolences to those who lost their loved ones. And for traditional leaders, please don't give up. Continue to look for the leaders of all the tribes and ask them to live together. Somebody mentioned 300 years. How old is our institution? They are there before our institutions. So they may as well please sit down and agree on how to live. More people were killed in Mambila and in Zamfara than in Benue. I have got my own ways of getting intelligence. But because I believe that knowledge is a two-way traffic, I never went out and believed anybody downstairs. Why did they fail to see that problem is coming? Why didn't they do something about it until people and properties have been destroyed?
The federal government of Nigeria, as of today, is very highly polarized along ethnic, religious, and geopolitical zones. Therefore, we strongly advocate for every Nigerian to feel very much at ease. We are suggesting that the security chiefs, in appointing security chiefs, federal character should be taken into special consideration along ethnicity, religious, and geopolitical zones. And finally, there should be a state police, or if there's no police, state police, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria should be amended such that the governors of each state should have total control over the security apparatus in those states.
This, I will tell you, is the beauty of democracy. And when you see people taking on Mr. President and they have the opportunity to say their mind to Mr. President, and when time Mr. President is not reading a prepared speech, is saying, is talking from his heart, and is talking, and being a very, very honest person, and anything he says out. But Babajide, a lot of people were saying that if this thing happened in Taraba immediately after that crisis, and that president is saying, and Mr. President is coming, gentlemen, I'm with you guys. I stand against those people killing us, and I condemn it in totality. And the security agency have directed them that please go and apprehend these people. A lot of people are saying that the timeliness would have succeeded in, dousing the tension and the wrong signals that might have been sent to some quarters.
Yes, I think, just as you said yesterday, the president made a very big mistake by not visiting those trouble spots immediately. You don't go to a trouble spot in response to criticism. You go to the scene of a mass murder to show that you are pained like any other person with blood running through his veins, you know, about the needless bloodletting. So you don't go after so many people had criticized you that, oh, you had time to attend a wedding, you had time to attend the commissioning of projects, you know, you had time to attend an anti-corruption seminar in Yola, whereas you didn't go to where Nigerians were needlessly slaughtered. So sometimes I ask myself, the kind of people who work with the president, what do they tell him? I think, what do they advise him? I think it has to get to a point that for some of the people around the president, in the interest of their own future, because these questions will be asked. It's not all Nigerians who do not have a sense of history. If you serve the president and when you needed to talk, you failed to talk, or when it was auspicious enough for you to talk, you chose to say what went against the grain. When that time comes, Nigerians will ask you, somebody said the president is an adult who can choose to go where he pleases. You don't need aids like that. Because if someone can reason like this, you can imagine why some of those bad decisions are being taken in the presidency, because there's no way, it's inexcusable to not go to Dapchi, for example. People have been, children, innocent children, taken away in Dapchi, the president had not gone there, and you come out, instead of just buttoning up your lips. Honestly. Because nobody will tie you to the stakes. Honestly, if you fail to talk, say anything, just you now say, "Oh, he's an adult." Say, Mr. President is an adult. He can. That is why some of us, this kind of jobs that these people are doing, that is why some of us have said we will never do it. It's not a question if it is the last thing. Because if I have a principal that I can't tell him the truth, why am I working for him? It's a question. It is a choice that some of us have made. I will not go there and see a president floundering, making mistakes that are putting me to shame, and I'm incapable of telling him that, Mr. President, this is wrong. Mr. President went late to those places, but I'm happy that he went there, but I'm not happy enough, because he should have asked that they should take him to the trouble spots, not to go to government house in Jalingo. No, where people were slaughtered. That is where you should go to. The spot because that is where you will see the people who lost their property, the people who lost their children, who lost their wives, who lost their husband. That is where you will see them. It should not be a teleguided tour. And properly commiserate with them. Friends. As long as you fail to do that, even the information that you put out there, Mr. President said that he hears that the people killed in Mambila, the number of people killed in Mambila was higher than those killed in Zamfara and Benue combined. Mr. President is wrong. And you see clearly that this is a president that gets misled all the time. If you are talking about Zamfara, are you referring to one incident? Because I know over a short period of time, those cattle rustlers killed more than 100 people. In fact, I remember one case, they killed about 100. About 100. So is the president telling us now that he believes what the Emir of Kano said, that 800 people were slaughtered in Mambila? Because 800 people were not slaughtered in Mambila. It's a lie from the pit of hell, and I will prove it. The current ambassador of Nigeria to Trinidad and Tobago, Alhaji Adoji Kansan, was the APC chairman in that state. He addressed the World Press Conference after the killings in Mambila, and he said 100 people were killed. 100. We have the video here at TVC. 100 people he said were killed. Suddenly we had the Emir of Kano, hundreds of kilometers away, saying 800 people were killed. Where did he get his facts from?
When the person on ground.
The fact that the Emir of Kano has escalated is not what the Red Cross has. Where were the 800 people buried? Honestly, I will tell you, because we think that everything, we can politicize everything. But this is not about politics. If under President Buhari's watch, in one particular phase of violence, 800 people can die, honestly, the president should resign. Because it makes no sense. And that figure, and I know they know it.
Exaggeration.
Jika Hassan is not dead. He addressed the press conference. He said, these are the people, they killed 100. So the people, and he's from Gembu, his own elder brother, who is a community leader in that area, was killed. So people who are far away are the ones now saying 800 people died. And the president, too, is saying, that the people killed in Mambila. If the president said people killed in Taraba were higher, I will agree. Because people killed in Taraba are indeed higher than people killed in those, probably 3 states combined. Because the killings extended to Wukari, the killings extended to Lao, the killings extended to Gasol. Different places in Taraba, people get killed. It's been a long time that they've been killing themselves in Taraba.
I would just say, Jide should just cool the fire. Because Jide is all...
No, I hate it when people just lie.
Martin, when you look at what Mr. President, that town hall meeting, I love the engagement. I love people standing up and Mr. President seated and people telling Mr. President, we are not happy with your appointments. We are not happy with the lopsided nature of your security appointment. And I hope we could have that kind of fora so that Mr. President will hear it firsthand, not that it's going to be transferred to him. When was the last time Mr. President had a presidential mission chat to talk to Nigerians? It's been a while.
Has had only once.
One since 2015.
Yes, since 2015. And just as you said, that is what I normally call here, as we quote one time President of the United States, that's the majesty of democracy. Majesty of democracy was what you saw yesterday. And
we are going to beat you up over this majesty of democracy one day.
You know, the thing is that is the most powerful dividend, ability to talk, freedom of expression. That is why you see anger all over the place where they say that, hate speech, you should hang people over that kind of thing. Democracy is democracy. If it is not democracy, it's not the same thing as democracy. But we're coming to brass tacks. You see, what they said to Mr. President yesterday was not an editorial that, they say Mr. Abata, some people in the newspaper, all these newspaper people. The people, they said, Mr. President, how many editorials have been written on parochial appointments? How many? So many. Every time. And people even were sharing things through WhatsApp. They said, look, if security people, intelligence people are going to meet, what language are they going to speak? Why would you do this? There have been so many criticisms of presidential appointments, but there is one specific one that has made it to hit the roof. The appointment of NIA DG recently, which we've discussed here. You know, because the DG of the Department of State Services is from Katsina. And two things happened. The SGF was suspended and replaced by somebody from
Adamawa State.
Adamawa State. Then the NIA chief was also suspended. And then people felt that it's a professional appointment, yes, but replacing that person with somebody that has been widely criticized is the most insensitive. And that is the question he asked. What do the president's men tell him? When they sit down to make this appointment, is there no classmate, is there nobody that can say, Mr. President, Nigeria is not Liberia, it's not Ghana. It's
somebody
not
that we listen to.
Yeah, somebody that you will listen to and say, no, Mr. President, you can't do that. They always do it. We have covered this thing. You see, the significance of that thing they were talking about, federal character yesterday, was born out of the fact that when they do security or intelligence meeting or security council meeting, this country is never and won't at this time be represented. That is dominated by people from the same area. And some people who want to be cynical and adversarial can even say of the same religion, which is not good for the president. So that's why we take advantage of this thing to say, look, we hear some of the criticisms of people online. And they say that
some people
even journalism is not like that. It's not criticizing that. So I wanted to make the point that once people attack people who talk, we want the president to be successful. We want the country to be well run. That is the social responsibility role of the press. The way we talk like this, when we say it, is not because we hate. We don't hate. No, we put them on their toes so that they can work in the interest of the larger society.
We
are not pressing that.
We are not professional press singers.
That is a constitutional role. Section 2.2 of the Constitution gives us that responsibility to monitor governance.
Tunde Abaton, when you look at in Taraba State, the government of Taraba State actually invited TVC at the time they were having one of their burials and everything, and we saw how bad people in Taraba State felt. And a reflection is this town hall meeting, what would have gone back. And we know that this is not a mixed community, but Taraba State is almost like, is it 70-30 or 40? But, of a particular religion. But the bottom line is that president going there to sit down with them, at least it will calm some frayed nerves. Will it?
Well, I think, like Gigi said, you see, we are all witnesses to what happens all over the world. Because of a single shooting in one church in America, in one, I think New Jersey or something, under 24 hours, President Trump was inside that church. The same thing with Obama. That was 4 years ago. Look, I think a president gets the kind of advisors he deserves. Before you become the president of a country as diverse and vast as Nigeria, you must have made up your mind about certain salient things about that particular country. And that thing, irrespective of whoever is suggesting to you the kind of person to appoint, you must know that you are about to preside over a multilingual, multicultural, multivarious, a diverse country, that you have to take the population along with you. So having said that, I believe that the failure of the president to be, if we agree that we are not proactive, but if you cannot be instantaneous, having failed to be proactive, then you should be at the theater of the war. It is at the theater of the war that you can see, you can feel the pulse of the people. I believe what happened yesterday, those people put those people together did not mean, they were not expecting that kind of speech would be read to the president. If they were expecting it, they would not allow those people to be there. So, but it was a good mistake. It was a good mistake that those people. It was a good mistake that they were selected. Those people that were selected, fortunately, in the interest of the president, they spoke the mind of the people of the state. Because when you gather people in an air-conditioned office, you should not expect truth to come out. If it is possible for advisors and aides of the president to shield him away from the reality of the Nigerian state, I think it shows that the process of our leaders appointing those who are serving them, it's either because there is a reflection of his thinking, or that the process is faulty. And if the process is faulty, I think those people don't deserve to be called special advisors or special, and they are not serving the interests of the president. Like I said, what happened yesterday was a mistake. It was a good mistake on the part of those people who asked those people to come and tell the president what he didn't want to hear, because they told him what he was not prepared to hear. Probably he delayed going to Taraba State because he thought things to calm down, so that they will now begin to say, President, we thank God that you are here today. But he meant another thing. It means there's something seriously wrong with the presidency. It means there's something seriously wrong with the manner of people the president chooses to surround himself with.
I pray, Babajide, I'm sure, I pray it doesn't get worse in Benue State, because I know that the people, there's a kind of pent-up anger in the air against what,
it's still hot in the air.
They will have worked on them before they get there.
They won't allow this mistake.
They will have worked on them. They will have worked on them. So I'm confident that, because let's not use this forum to discourage the president or frighten him. I'm confident that he will get a good reception in Benue. He's the leader of our people. The Benue people voted for him. He won the election. He won it easily. So is everyone's father. So, and a father should feel free to walk into the closet of his offspring. Say, look, how are you there? What are you doing? You know, how are you getting by? That is the way it should be. With the president, I want to believe that he will learn from this, because, look, the APC won the last election, but they have no reason to be complacent this time, because the people who want the president to be shunted out of power, they are not resting on their laurels. They are working hard day and night to ensure that they kick this president into touch, as they say in football. So why not work hard, renew and restore the faith that Nigerians have in you by doing what is right, treating everyone as equals. Because when you begin to grade calamities, then people will say, oh, it's biased.
It boils down to the quality of information that they're giving.
Yes, you see, the thing is, you know, I've always said it, when the president addressed the press on New Year's Day, and he was saying that fuel scarcity was caused by hoarding, I knew that a professional liar misled the president. And today, we are seeing the same NNPC, the incompetent NNPC, that can't give us efficient supply of premium motor spirit. They are the ones now telling us that, oh, the consumption level is actually now 50 million liters per day. Oh, so you didn't know, because they were working on 30. Working on 30, we moved into a season when Nigerians consume even twice the quantity that they would normally consume at other times, and you are still working on a lower so many things. No, even the country is becoming bigger. So they have agreed now that it is actually 50. Now what people need to do is go and find out what is the level of importation into the country now. What is the level of supply? Go around, what's it called? Tank farms in Lagos. You see that what NNPC is actually doing is rationing. If you have capacity to hold 10 million liters, they could give you just 8 or give you 5, which was not the case before. So, which will now show clearly that there is supply disequilibrium. The president read that speech, and some people who clearly are enemies of the president, because enemies of the president are the people who will never see anything that he has done wrong. The enemies of the president, they believed that
I forgot the name they call them in social media.
They call them hailers.
Some people call them Buhari.
So, no, the thing is, the enemies of the president are people who never see anything wrong that he does. So those people believe that story until the Minister of State for Petroleum came out and said what we had said repeatedly here, that supply was not enough. Even if he chose not to admit to that fact that supply was not enough, DPR, which has the responsibility of monitoring supply at filling stations, right up to the tank farms, also came out to tell us that supply had been going down. And the NNPC GMD himself went to the Senate, and the figures that he reeled out showed clearly that supply tapered down as we move towards December.
Let's quickly
the truth is by nature self-evident. You may not see it immediately. You may look at the person saying the truth and say, oh, look, they've come again, liars. But at the fullness of time, people will see clearly what the truth is.
That is the most powerful force on earth.
All right. Olawale is calling us from Lagos.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you for holding on, Wale. It's been a while.
Okay, good evening, Ayo.
Good evening, Wale.
You should drop his number with the producer.
Good evening.
I agree too.
Okay, it's a pity.
Drop your number with the producer.
Okay, after your call, the producer will get your number, Wale.
They have taken it already. They have taken it.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, sincerely speaking, I must confess that I'm now an object of ridicule in Ikorodu.
Oh.
Last year, in 2015, I campaigned in the market. I campaigned inside Boston, okay, for the president because of his integrity. But you need to see or to hear what people are saying now, especially what happened in Yobe State. We are all fathers, okay? For almost over 100 girls to be moved away. And the president felt unconcerned and cannot go there. He's the commander-in-chief. He can give the security apparatus chief directive that I want to be in that place in the next 1 or 2 hours. It's their responsibility to take care of him. But that one in particular, as you said yesterday, we are not only an object of ridicule in the international society, we are now being messed up. That two things, similar things in Chibok happened in the space of less than 4 years, and we cannot do. Please, all the security chiefs, my own honest opinion, they should be relieved of their appointment. God bless you.
Thank you, Wale. Thank you for your contribution. Martin, are you on the same page with?
You see, definitely. You see, as I was saying, I was interrupting. Truth is the most powerful force on earth. Check. Truth. You can't suppress it. If you suppress it in another realm, within 72 hours, it will come out.
You know, one philosopher said, the truth is like a mole.
Yes.
You cover it on one end, it comes out at the other end.
At the other end. So, that is the truth.
Then we are trying to cover smoke.
There is a time.
You have to
there
cover
is a
smoke.
time for everything.
Have a way of coming out.
You know, there is a time for everything. Now, in this digital age, you don't waste time, even in a democracy. You have to be proactive. You have to communicate with the people. I was telling him, I witnessed something in this Lagos today. The governor of Lagos State gathered businessmen. Because of the power of his communication, he reduced the language of taxation to governance in a way that people were clapping. Poisonous things.
You guys going to take money off their pockets.
Things. But because of the way he communicated with them, you know, the people
serenaded them.
one after the other, they were pressing him for his passion. They said that they had seen passion. All the business leaders, including the richest man, a black man, was there. He was pressing him. All the bank chiefs, all of them, they were pressing him. Even people asked questions.
And they promised greater investments.
And he knew the subject. He knew his subject. He had the data on his fingertips. The power of political communication. You discover all these things we are saying, we are speaking in tongues about the president's men, all these things like that. That the man shows that the chief executive is his own public relations officer.
You are a reflection.
You are the one to communicate. You don't depend on aides or a commissioner for information and all this. That's what the governor of Lagos State demonstrated this morning. He communicated. He knows his subject. When they mention a project, he knows the history of the project. He knows the name. He knows the figure. That is exactly
Let me interject
what
you a little
happened.
bit and take Abdul. Abdul is calling us from Bauchi. Thank you for joining us, Abdul.
All right. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Ayo and Mr. Jide Anko.
Good evening, Abdul.
Good evening.
Really, you are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, Abdul.
We have to appreciate you. So I want to contribute about your analysis and the view, what you are talking about. My thinking is that people around Mr. President, they are not telling him the truth. We all know that their duty is that to tell the Mr. President where there is something to understand, but they are not doing so. So that's my contribution.
Thank you, Abdul. Thank you, Abdul, for stating that.
So, yes, as I was saying, this kind of time, you don't depend on such aids. As I was just doing this illustration with Lagos State. The president is the one we elected.
Yes.
Nobody elected somebody on the basis of the quality of aids he's going to, the quality of that person. We're talking about his integrity. We're talking about how he will improve the economy. Then you look at the speech that was read in Taraba. We felt as a retired general who has fought a war and who has led troops like that most generals that we have always seen are working on pan-Nigerian platform. And he should take responsibility for his action.
Okay, I'll come to Tunde Abaton after this breather. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. We're still on this. This is Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're still on this visit by Mr. President, and the President will visit Borno State. The President will visit Yobe so that he commiserate with the Dapchi girls and give Benue, sorry, and give assurances and everything.
But there is no doubt the fact that when you look at the manner of aids the President had and the lopsidedness in the appointment of those, we should not have expected anything better than what has happened. Like I said, what happened yesterday was a mistake.
A good one.
It was a good mistake for the people of that state, but it was a bad mistake for the handlers of the president. And I believe that at this particular point in time, the former president in his letter said something. He said that the governance of Nigeria is neither a tea party nor a 24-hour job. It is a 25/7 job, that within a day you spend 25 hours. So in that sense, a president of a country is supposed to hold the country in his palm like this, not somebody that will rely on some aids. Most of those
who mislead him.
Most of those appointments that the president has made of late, they are incompetent people by all standards, including the people in the civil service. So when you saddle your government with incompetent people, incompetency will be at your desk every day. When you wake up every day on your desk, incompetency will be staring at your face every day. So the president has to come out of his shell. Unfortunately, September last year,
he can't change people now because Bukola and Co.
When he came back last year,
Bukola and Co. will not clear any new person. The president even said he was going to expand the cabinet.
When he came back last September, he promised Nigeria that he was going to expand it.
But Bukola and Co. will not do that
the
now.
The National Assembly is saying if he doesn't remove Mustafa Magu,
they will not clear anybody.
I think the president has allowed himself to be held hostage by the incompetent people that he surrounded himself with. They should have advised him better. But like I said, we should pray that by tomorrow, by the time he faces Benue State, Yobe State, they will make the same mistake they made yesterday, so that the president can hear himself out. Unfortunately, the aides that surround him, he has allowed himself to be boxed into a corner by doing all these things, because naturally somebody who has fought a civil war before, who has been governor of North Central State of Nigeria, who has been petroleum minister, who has been head of state, is not supposed to make this kind of mistake that we are going through.
All right, Babajide, moving forward now they are going to be having this town hall meeting. I don't expect that the change pattern, people will be able to bear their minds, and the Mr. President will be able to hear from Nigerians. I think for a long time, Mr. President have not been able to hear firsthand from them.
Us,
how people feel and everything.
There is always you always get to hear the truth at an open forum like that. Remember when your GMD, NNPC, said about more than 4,000 trucks, were diverted, and the man who is the head of tanker drivers in Nigeria, right there in the Senate, he said, no, that can't be true. That if in Nigeria, within that short period of time, that number of tankers, then Nigeria is a failed nation.
Yes.
And he explained what happened to show clearly that he was responding to a lie. He proved it empirically, and everyone who listened to him, he said, look, because of the scarcity, you are telling us don't wait for clocking. This clocking so that where it gets registered that, this truck is going to also, just go straight to those filling stations, go and discharge. A lot of those tankers left the depot without the normal tagging that they do. So he explained that was what happened. What if we didn't have that open forum that the Senate made to happen? Nigerians would not have known the truth, because I saw people writing that, 5,000 trucks, so trucks
disappears.
And the man who made that claim was stung into silence. Right there, he was tongue-tied, because he knew that that guy was saying the truth. If we didn't have that open forum, the speech that the president read, where he claimed that the scarcity was caused by hoarding and was issuing threats, we would not have had that opportunity that the Minister of State had and explained that, look, these were supply issues.
An expert on the
supply issues.
It's not a
not hoarding.
It's not a politician.
Not hoarding, not diversion. Supply issues.
The expected town hall meeting,
The town hall meetings always provide an opportunity. You can actually plan with someone. I've seen it. Politicians sometimes at this kind of gathering, they will say, okay, they will get their aides to give journalists questions that they will ask. But I've seen journalists take such questions, tear their questions, and ask their own probing questions, their own embarrassing questions. So, because how do we solve the problems of our nation if we are not prepared to confront those problems head on? The president is someone that has been dealt with in the past by disloyal aides and incompetent aides. What happened to him in 1985? I expect the president to learn, because in 1985 he had people around him who were not loyal to him. They will go on errands that the president didn't send them with the desire to embarrass the president and bring him down.
As fifth columnist.
This President Buhari, when Awolowo's library was overturned, nobody told Buhari that they were going there. They just left. And they had a script. They were plotting just to ensure that Buhari got embarrassed, and then someone like IBB will be enthroned. So once IBB is enthroned, Nigerians will not say, no, why did you kick this person out? Because already there was a premeditated plan to make him look bad in the eyes of the Nigerian people. So he should be conscious of the fact that even amongst his current aides, there could be people who still have that kind of devious nature that the 1985 set had. So he has to be very careful. When he sleeps, he should not sleep with two eyes shut. He should be thinking not just of Nigeria, but thinking that around him there are enemies masquerading as friends. There are wolves. That he should be thinking that in front of that Aso Rock gate, there's a pack of wolves ready to devour him, ready to embarrass them before Nigerians. And so he should take the right decisions and not always follow what those liars, that's what they are. What those liars tell him, he should not always listen.
Okay, Kule is calling us from Oyo State. Thank you for joining us, Kule.
Hello, good evening, Hayo.
Good evening, Kule.
Yes, Gide, I greet you.
I greet you too.
I love the discussion, and I'm very, very happy with what is going on over there. I greet you guys. God will continue to reward you.
Amen. And you too.
But I have one or two things to discuss. The president that I personally went to my coursemate, that I personally I campaigned for him. Now, when I get to class, they laugh at me that you see the guy you were saying we should vote for. I don't know why you will allow aides that the aides that lie, that whatsoever they say, you will believe them. Now, look at what happened presently in Taraba. I was happy because those people, they set their mind. And that is what is going on now. Even everywhere in the West now, that is what is going on. So I wish the president can just change most of his aides, including the ministers too. Most of them, they are not doing anything.
Thank you, Kule.
I don't know why you just be, you cramp yourself. I love what Relation Yinka said recently, that the president is in trance. I pray God help us.
Thank you, Kule. Thank you for your contribution. Now, nearly 1.5 billion people are estimated to lack electricity worldwide, half of which live in Africa. Sadly, Nigeria alone is estimated to have more than 90 million people living without electricity supply. Since independence, various administrations have successfully failed to deliver uninterrupted power supply. The monster has cost Nigeria billions of naira, but it has refused to go away. It has also cost homes and businesses tons in losses. But the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, suggested that the way out of the quagmire is to develop renewable energy along with conventional power plants. What is the way out of this perpetual darkness? So let me start from you. I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
How many hours are you doing right now?
I have no life since Thursday. I have to tell you that.
Since Thursday?
Yes, I was in a shouting match with a colleague 2 days ago when he posted something from Dimu that we can now clap for NEPA. And I told him that, are you in Nigeria at all? Why are you always saying the positive? You are the kind of people that will mislead the president.
Yes.
You see, our problem basically
is like one of the president's hits.
With electricity in Nigeria. Yes, accepting that we have the capacity of increasing our generation from 3,000 megawatts that it was to 7,000. But you see, it is not generation that you want to talk about. When you get a new job as a father, and you get home, you tell your children that, I have a new job, you brought a new car inside. Naturally, they are expecting that their standard of living will improve and that you pay their school fees as an at-when due. Only for after 3 months, you start scratching your head when they ask for milk. And then they will say, Daddy, are you sure that you have a new job? Now, 4,000 megawatts, the distribution company, DISCOs, they cannot transmit. If you cannot distribute, it means you have no power. Because we are telling me now that we have 7,700 megawatts, and 4,700 is sitting down somewhere early, which means they have no capacity to go into that business. And that caused the question why we sold that all the DISCOs to them. So invariably, even when you get renewable energy, you get 25,000, 30,000. It is your ability to get it to the home of Nigerians that matters. It is not the talk in the pages of newspaper that we have 40,000, we have 25,000. If you are unable to deliver it to their homes, then it means you have not generated anything. That is what it means. So I think instead of all these things, these 7,000, 20,000, it does not matter. Let us have DISCOs. And if we know if DISCO is not performing, you know the DISCO that has the biggest challenge in Nigeria, it is Ikeja, and I will tell you why. Of all the industries that we have in Nigeria, 70% of them are located in Lagos. And of all the industries that are located in Lagos, 70% are in Ikeja district. Okay. Where you come from,
that
Ikeja.
Makes their responsibility.
That makes their responsibility very heavy. Then that means also that the kind of company you are going to sell that into must have the capacity. All what we have also discovered is that most of those communities, they bought their transformer themselves. In my own community, we bought a transformer for 8 million naira in 2008. And the problem with NEPA is that the moment you buy anything, and they put something on it, the property belongs to that of DISCO. So the question now is that
they are sent to PACN,
everything
it does send to
NEPA. Because it has not changed. Do you know what? The point I'm trying to make now is that it is not in the ability to generate, it is in the ability to get it home. They lack the capacity. They have refused to invest. They have refused to invest. You know what they do nowadays? They will not buy a motorcycle all over the place. They put their energy more on marketing rather than on transmission and maintaining what has been transmitted. So they now do more of marketing than recruiting people that will maintain and transfer and transmit the power.
I want to ask you, it's very easy to criticize these people, but when you talk to them, you hear their own challenges too. There are some people, their principalities, they don't pay NEPA bill. They don't pay their power bill. They don't pay. I know some areas in Lagos now, you can't go and disconnect them. You can't go to Moshe.
Because most of the people who are asking for these prepaid meters, they cannot get.
They cannot have.
They can't get, but because the estimated billing that they bring, this is an issue. You see, this issue is not so technical. You know that what we are talking about is already in the hand of private sector people. They have sold all those power plants. Absolutely. You know, we can engage even government officials. Even the kind of investment that they themselves have put into this thing since they came, because those installations had been sold before 2015. So what we are talking about now, we talk too much about this thing, but I think the solution, let us not pontificate anymore. The solution is what I know a few states are trying to do. They should just do this thing within the context of federalism. Let's
generation, transmission, and distribution.
Whatever is available, the resources that are available in Lagos State or Southwest, generally, let them do something on their own within the context of development agenda for Western Nigeria as a region. In the East, they can do something. But all this federal affair, that we continue to depend on Abuja, we blame Fashola, we blame all these things. Let us localize this issue. In 2000, I was in Lower Saxony area of Germany for Expo 2000 in Germany. They told at that time, Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed was the permanent secretary in charge of Trade and Commerce Ministry. And he was at that expo. He himself, this Niger man, who was later in charge of this investment commission. Bello was the Minister of Commerce. They saw everything that even the Lower Saxony area of Germany could depend on Sweden. They didn't have anything to do with the federal government or all those things like that. A federation like this should not depend on one source. In the same vein, in 2003 or 2004, when they had a problem in Washington area, you see how local representatives of the people, congressmen, they were going from one place to the other talking to electricity company. They didn't have to blame the president of the country or all those things. So I believe that state governments should take advantage of the law, either to amend the law to enable them to be able to take this thing. I understand that Lagos State is trying to do something on its own now not to depend on this Abuja. Abuja is
but you have to know that you are constrained by the kind of constitution we are. Actually, you tried it in Lagos.
But you know, the Minister of Power has explained a way.
Lagos State tried with Enron.
When we are talking about solution here,
they are amending the constitution now.
We've identified the problems and
it's
lack of capacity and what do you have. Now, how can we solve this problem?
You see, electricity generation, transmission
and distribution
are very, very capital intensive. I doubt if we can even find the quantum of funding that will take us to the level of the South Africans, for example, in terms of electricity generation. Because, look, Nigerian banks as they are now cannot fund the kind of
infrastructure required,
the kind of funding that is needed, you know, to reflate the sector and keep it growing on a consistent basis for like 10 years. The Nigerian banks put together cannot fund it. Look at the Mambila project that will give us 3,500 megawatts, of electricity.
That's because it's 1982.
Look at how much is needed. Even as a country, we can't bring the funds. We have to get the Chinese to assist us, the Chinese Export-Import Bank. So it's not, as they say, no be beans. It's just not easy. And the people who benefited from the privatization when it happened were people who clearly did not have the wherewithal. We've given them bailout in excess of 100 billion. They are asking for more again for them to buy prepaid meters for people. It is unfortunate when you look at what's happening to Nigeria, a country that has 176 trillion cubic feet of proven natural gas reserves, which puts us among the top 10 in the world and the highest in Africa, should not be going through what we are going through. In Nigeria, you build power plant without thinking of how to get gas supply to the power plants. So those power plants can deliver at least 12,000 megawatts for us, you know, but how many of them can get gas supply? And when they don't get gas supply regularly, that is why when you hear that, oh, there is a system failure somewhere. I was reading that the Shiroro hydro plant, which delivers 700 megawatts, I was reading that because of flooding and problems some time ago, that it had to shut down. If you go to Niger State, that is called Nigeria's power base.
Power state.
That is probably the state in Nigeria with the worst power supply. People in Shiroro, and other places, they don't have electricity. And there's Kanji, there's Kanji Dam there. So it's unfortunate that we are going through this kind of problem. But in my view, and I've canvassed but the Minister of Power has told us that no, that they will stick with this roadmap, this power roadmap that Jonathan came up with. They are not prepared to void this the transaction. They are not prepared to put it aside and bring in people like General Electric who have the capacity, who have the record of performance, because that is what we should be looking at. And that was why I was really worried when they said they were going to commission the airports, because nobody made it public to us who were the bidders, So our leaders will just decide on their own that, okay, this thing belongs to the collective, that these are the people that they want to give it to. We can't politicize things like this. We can't give things like this to our friends. They should go to the people who have the requisite knowledge and capacity to deliver. For now, the people running that sector, because it's not purely a problem of transmission. As far as I'm concerned, the generating companies are doing well. But the capacity to even evacuate all that is generated is not there. The capacity to transmit all that is generated is not there, because the equipment are obsolete. Some of the transformers are dead.
Nothing to distribute. Well, definitely, I think that this issue, like so many other issues, the state should pay attention. They should do some town hall on some of these things. Like this thing, they say that the cost of cancelling the transaction before this thing is too much. I think that they should pay more attention to it, but federalism is the answer.
I think
amend the law.
We are in the 21st century, and the moment we begin to attach politics or ethnic balancing to certain crucial issues in Nigeria, then we will begin to go back 50 years ago. So we have to do something about.
Thank you so much, Tunde Abaton, Martin Aloja, thank you, and Babajide Otitoju, and that's all on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on all our other platforms showing on the screen. You can also catch us on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozuba. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.